There are millions of men who enjoyed it every bit as much as I did writing it because it was an outlaw movie.
Thelma and Louise turned 20. First the news.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. A judge has signed the order for former IMF head Dominique Strauss-Kahn to get out of jail. But NPR's Barbara Adler reports that it's still not clear when Strauss-Kahn will be released. His lawyers say he will get out tonight.
This is what we
Supreme
do
Court
in
Justice Michael Obis had agreed Thursday to release Strauss-Kahn to house arrest if he posted $1 million cash bail plus a $5 million bond, had electronic monitoring and armed guards, which he would pay for himself. The bail has been posted, but the plans were halted for a time after there were objections from the Bristol Plaza, a residential hotel where he was going to stay. Most probably because hundreds of reporters and photographers and police camped out in front of the residence all day. Prosecutors now say Strauss-Kahn will be housed temporarily in a corporate building owned by the private security firm that will guard him. Strauss-Kahn has been indicted on 7 sexual assault charges. Authorities say he attacked a maid at a Manhattan hotel. He denies the allegations. His next court appearance is on June 6th. Margot Adler, NPR News, New York.
The White House says it is looking for broad-based international support for President Obama's proposal to provide additional financial help for Tunisia and Egypt. But officials also say they are not expecting any firm dollar amount to be decided when members of the world's biggest economies gather in France for a scheduled meeting next week. Members of the G8 summit, including President Obama, are slated to attend. President had what he called a prolonged and useful conversation with Israel's prime minister today. But as NPR's Scott Horsley reports, the meeting produced no movement by Israel on the shape of a future Palestinian state.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said firmly after his meeting with President Obama that Israel would not return to its 1967 borders because, he said, that would leave the country indefensible. Mr. Obama agreed that Israel must be able to defend itself. He'd suggested the 1967 borders as a starting point for negotiations in his Middle East speech on Thursday.
Obviously, there are some differences between us, the precise formulations and language, and that's going to happen between friends.
The two men held a lengthy meeting in the Oval Office. It was to be followed by a working lunch. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
One of the nation's biggest airlines says it's been notified by the government of a civil investigation that's into whether some ticket distribution systems are violating antitrust laws. American Airlines says it's been asked by the Justice Department for information. The request comes as American has been fighting so-called global distribution systems over concerns about the way information about flights and fares is shared with travel agents. Last month, American sued Travelport Limited, the company that operates some of the biggest ticket distribution systems. Americans accused the company of monopoly tactics, retaliating against the airline by bearing information about its flights. All major indexes were down sharply on Wall Street today, dragged down by lower earnings reports. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 93 points. The Nasdaq was down 19 points. You're listening to NPR.
Support for NPR comes from Intel Corporation, committed to supporting today's young minds as they take on tomorrow's challenges. Learn more.
Take some time, but people are really patient though. He's a BMW. Wow. Carpooling sports in Washington, D.C.